don't know that it's really a factor. The next two games are going to go against teams that are heavy rushing teams, so it's not. But is playing zero coverage like you did almost the entire second half against Notre Dame sustainable? I know the Miami Dolphins did that against the Baltimore Ravens a couple seasons ago, the whole game, just to try to, Lamar Jackson thrown off. I mean, it's been done before, but I mean, you think it's sustainable to play?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's sustainable. I kind of went with my gut on that deal, and it was working, so we kept doing it. People can have answers for zero pressure, obviously, and so you got to mix it in when you do it. And that's a little unusual what we did there in the second half, but we took some risks, and sometimes those risks it's high risk, high reward, and there was more reward in the second half than there was the opposite. But yeah, you got to be careful about when you do it. You got to try to disguise it when you can. But sometimes where we show all up and we bring guys and we show all up and we drop them, and so you try not to be too predictable. But you got to be careful when you do it. You got to be smart about it. And but we took more chances typically than I would usually take there, because I felt like we had to, in that situation, Bill.
Yeah, Coach, John Rhys Plumlee, we know played a couple positions at Ole Miss, now just focusing on quarterback. What makes him such a threat in that offense for Coach Malzahn?
He's a really, really good athlete, can really run, throws it effectively too. So he's just, you think you got him corralled, and he pops out. He's made some people look really silly this year on film. So he's scary athletically. Anytime you got a quarterback that can run the ball, whether it's designed or not, and they do both, obviously. It's an issue, and they do a great job of spreading you out and get the ball on the perimeter, and then he'll keep it off of the jet sweep. They run the power read, some of those type things. So he's a really, really good player, and it's going to be a huge challenge for us to defend him and stop him this week.
What is it about their offense? When I looked and saw their maybe the fifth leading rushing team in the nation, what makes them so good offensively running the ball?
Well, they've got really good personnel. They're really good up front. They've got a lot of speed on the perimeter. They've got three really good backs. In the quarterback, obviously, that's another ball carrier. So they spread you out. They give you a lot of formations. There's a lot of eye candy and window dressing, the things that they do. Super creative. I think Coach Malzahn, does a phenomenal job. Always has, with the offense that he runs, and taking advantage of his personnel, getting the ball to his best players in space a lot. And so they conflict you a lot in the run game. It's not like very different than Notre Dame, where they're going to line up in 12 and 13 personnel and just try to mash you. It's a lot of misdirection, a lot of perimeter run mixed in with some inside run. They're really, really good at what they do. Present a lot of problems.
And you mentioned Coach Malzahn. I would imagine he presents a problem too as a play caller with what he's able to do, dialing things up.
Yeah, he does. Like I said, he's super creative. You'll see a wrinkle or a niche every week, something you've got to adjust to. And you're going to see a ton of formations. They're going to mix in tempo. You'll see different personnel groupings. But you're going to see 4 or 5, home run trick plays when you play these guys. And so you got to be really disciplined. You got to have your eyes in the right spot. And, yes, it's a tough week to prepare because what they do is very challenging.
And one of these games where there's no excuse not to lay it all out on the line. You got some time to get healthy before you can put all your focus on Army. Yeah,
absolutely. My kids are excited about this opportunity. Get to go down there. It's going to be a great environment. You're playing the top team in our conference, a chance to go down there and upset them. They typically play really, really well at home. I think they're playing at a really high level right now, and they're as good as anybody we've played all year, maybe better. And so we're going to have to play great. Obviously, we can't dig ourselves a hole like we did last week to have a shot against these guys. We got a shot, but we're going to have to play out of our mind to have a chance to win this game.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck. Have a good trip.
Thanks, Scott.
Pete, Matt Hurst.
Brian, similar when teams play Navy, is trying to simulate the speed in which Plumlee plays with? Because you've faced a couple of guys that are mobile, but certainly I think Plumlee straight line is faster than probably anybody you've seen at that position this year.
Yeah, I'd say the guy up to this point was Mordecai at SMU, can roll a little bit, but yeah, he can fly. And fortunately with our scout team, we got a couple of guys that are option quarterbacks that we recruited to run the football as well. So those guys know how to run that or know how to simulate that offense and what they're doing at the quarterback position. So that certainly helps in practice. But yeah, it's hard to prepare for the speed, just like people preparing for us in the option. It's one thing to do it against a scout team. It's another thing to do it live when all the jet sweeps and the power reads time up a little different. They happen a lot faster when you're going live and they do in our practices. But those guys will do a great job this week of helping simulate as best they can.
With regard to a guy like Rhys Plumlee, is he kind of do most defenses have to spy him? You pretty much have to have a guy accounting for the quarterback on every play because you never know when he's going to run, right?
Yeah, you do. You certainly have to have him accounted for. You can play some teams and drop 8 and get depth with the linebackers and that sort of thing. And you really, unless it's 3rd and a mile, you really can't do that against this guy. You always got to have him accounted for. Excuse me. And spy player, like you mentioned, occasionally. When you do bring pressure or you rush forward, you got to make sure that you got him contained. You keep him in the pocket. That we talk about the four points of the quarterback. Those kind of things. So we obviously can't let him get out of the pocket. We have a chance to tackle him. We got to get him on the ground. He's a really good athlete, but he also has really good vision. He breaks tackles. Not typical quarterback. So he's obviously the key to that offense, and we're going to do a great job to have a chance to slow them down.